Kenneth is here. I'd like to invite you to stand with us, and let's begin with prayer and then remain standing and join in the pledge, if you don't mind. I'm going to call on Commissioner McGay. Hey, I assume after the weather last night, he's prayed up and ready. So how about opening with prayer?
Thank you. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and your love for us. Thank you for the hedge of protection you placed around our county, Lord, the minimal damage we had and no lives were lost or injuries that we know of. Lord, we pray your blessings continue on us and everyone here today. Help us to make the right decisions and go out the county's business and glorify you in all things we do. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you will, join us in the pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Certainly appreciate your interest in the business of the county. Appreciate all of you being here on a morning like this. There's consideration as weather was coming in, whether to delay the meeting, postpone the meeting, cancel the meeting for another day. And schools had to make those decisions yesterday, just like that. So people are always willing to second guess, but we just hope that everybody made the right decision and folks are kept safe. I guess that's the key. So we're thrilled, as Tommy mentioned in his prayer, that there have been no injuries to our knowledge and certainly no deaths because of this weather. We have no scheduled public hearings, but we do have public comment from citizens. Mr. Hudson is here. He's a councilman at Horn Hill, and we'll ask you to come to the podium. And he has concern, we know, about a caution light or a traffic light, and he wants to express that and make sure we're all fully aware, and then we'll react as we leave this meeting, Mr. Hudson, and see if we can't get a little more information. I know there's been a good bit of information gathering already, but go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I am a councilman with the town of Horn Hill, but I'm here really as a concerned citizen of the community. The light there at Horn Hill Road and what used to be the old Horn Hill Grocery hasn't worked. There's 3 county roads that intersect there, so there's like 5 points altogether. Hasn't worked since September. I reported it to the county engineer's office that time. And I'm just concerned. I mean, there's way more traffic today than there was when the need was there and Mr. Bill McLean put the light in. Traffic's probably doubled, tripled. It's been there, I think, 25, 30 years. I don't know how long. It was put there before I was here. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I know it's been looked at or whatever, but it was working, and then all of a sudden the last light that I saw blinking quit blinking. I don't know if it's just bulbs, flasher, or what, but I think the cost to fix that is minimal, especially compared to a life, if it's especially some of your family, And I know the county has other lights throughout the county: Wing, Strong School Road, Union Grove, Fleeta School area, and I just would like to see if we can get this one fixed and working.
Okay. We understand, and so by coming today, beyond what you've already done, I know you've already met with Ms. Holmes, and she brought that to the commission at least in some comment earlier, and I know there's been conversation with the engineer's office, so we are aware and attempting to make a decision on how we're going to proceed. I know there have been some changes not of standards, but of what's deemed to be most desirable from an efficiency standpoint and other things. But we are primarily concerned with safety, so we need to respond quickly on that. So y'all have questions or comments on this, commissioners?
We're supposed to receive, I believe, a report today at some time from ACCA, which is the Montgomery Commission, and on all aspects of it. So we should have something. I talked with the mayor earlier this morning, and I told him I would get it to you, and I'll probably deliver it to you
Okay.
as soon as we get it. So maybe we can go from there and see what we as a county need to do and have a little more information that we can go by. I know it's a concern. I spoke with the sheriff about it, what's that been, a couple of months ago. And it is a dangerous intersection.
It is.
So, yeah, I hope that we can get it worked out and do something for the best of everybody concerned.
Granted, we all know the light contains nothing magic. It's just not going to stop or remedy anything. But if it was needed years ago, if the need was there and felt to be needed, then that hasn't went away. So the only thing that hangs there is the liability, So, but anyhow,
Lynn, anything you want to add or respond to this? I know you've been
No,
chatting.
we had talked to Jason Booth, he's there in the Troy region, I have a DOT office up there, and he and I discussed, because lights, I know Babby had bought some in the past, and asked them who they were using for new lights. And I know I gave Miss Lynn a copy of and it's been forwarded to Mr. Hudson and at City Hall, the type of lights that the states are using now. The company they're going with is that company. That's what the DOT uses. The company, that's the company they use now for their lights and everything.
All right.
So, but with the state, I talked to him. Matter of fact, I think he called me Thursday or Friday. And the thing, what happens, he explained to me, the states get away from all the overhead beacon lights unless it's a four-way stop. But if you've got a four-lane or a
You got
crossing,
two roads crossing, yeah.
a crossing where you got just two a stop and then a yield or just a caution. He said the state is getting away from those type intersections and putting up beacons instead. He said what happens, he says people, their mind thought is when they come up to, say like the 70, if you run across 70 there, Sasser's Crossroads, where Babby Road is just a caution light, but 70 is a stop, a red light on the side there. He said people assume when they pull up that stop sign, they assume, because they can't see the lights on the other. He said they assume that they're going to stop.
They assume it's a four-way stop.
Four-way stop. That's why we're
And
getting away from those type, the beacons ahead, which it doesn't really, they're getting away from that setup.
So that's part of what I know we're looking into, and we'll make a decision on that pretty quick.
But I know that the stuff, like you said, the light's been for a long time. That software is outdated. I know the one at Strong School is out there. It's a circuit board. They only make it anymore.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get away and try to get more toward the beacon style light, something a little more updated to handle that kind of stuff.
And I know in some years back, not too long ago, there were a couple of accidents, for instance, at Harmony, and I think that was part of the reason. One of those is a throughway with just caution. The others is from the side or red lights, and I think people just pulled out thinking the other traffic was stopping. So that's a perfect example of where that has happened. So we're just looking at that to see what our options are. All right.
Some of these roads, it's got caution lights, like on 636 over in Coffee County, where it crosses 87, it's got cross traffic does not stop. It's got a signage at the stop sign that we might consider.
Yeah, we could do some sign. There's other things we can do. We could do, more of some advanced warning stuff. We just got to do one there at Racetrack Road there in Florella, right there at Lockhart, there on County Road 4. We had an issue with a lot of far people turn right on 4 to go to hit the 85 the back way in the Crestview, and when they get to the Racetrack Road, they miss it. And they turn around in Mr. Peoples' yard, literally, they turn around in his yard, was tearing his yard to pieces. And we had some signs made to try to alleviate that, to give more advanced warning right there for that. I had a sign made, it's got FL 85, Crestview to the left, 300 feet. But there's different things we can do to help, help safe that up and get some more updated lights at those intersections.
So your concern is noted. We share that concern, and we will act on it. We'll make it a priority to act on that over the next, as quickly as possible over the next few days.
thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to address you.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right. Move on to public comment from other elected or appointed officials. And we have with us today Jacob Morgan from CCEDC. Jacob, you want to come to the podium and give us an update on economic development and operations out of your office?
Yes, sir. Again, it's a privilege to be here today. It's always exciting to be able to talk about what we got going on here in the county. And if you don't know me, my name is Jacob Morgan, and I am Vice President of the Covington County Economic Development Commission, and I'm also a bivocational minister. So it's a pretty busy job, but I've always kind of thought that best thing you could give somebody is the Lord, and second is a job. And these days it's just hard to find people that want to work. So I hope that'll change, but I think we're in better position than a lot of areas. But just to tell you a little bit about what our focus has been and what I'm looking to do coming this year, along with Rick that works with me. One area here that I believe we have a lot of potential is forestry. We have so many surplus trees in a big radius that are all leaving here. They go to other areas, and there are people, private and most big corporate mills are owned out of Canada nowadays, but there are a lot of people looking to start up different types of mills, and 60% of cost today are logistic related, and you're going to have to take them far if you got a mill here. That would be really good, I think, and pay off well for our area, and they're good jobs. They would be really good jobs for our citizens. A lot of those range from $15 to $25 an hour starting out, and 40, 50 of those is a good thing for this area. And I'm a member of the Southern Lumber Manufacturers Association. I go to a lot of their meetings. They have a big annual conference, and I go to try to meet companies that are looking to expand. And as a matter of fact, this past year, since June, I probably had 12 site visits with companies I was given leads through to go and visit and talk to about our area, and a lot of them are familiar with it and are looking to possibly do something here in the future, and when they do, we're going to be ready. So I'm looking forward to that, to seeing what we can do. As you can tell out here on this road, if you're ever trying to get out on that 4-lane, retail's doing well in the city of Andalusia. And certainly, I tell you, the data, anybody that I sit down with, that this McDonald's and probably the Jack's, and I know that Zaxby's, they rank at the top nationally. That McDonald's there is doing better business than any McDonald's in Los Angeles, California, and that is no joke. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of revenue that they take out here. And we're looking, of course, to try to see that all of our towns and cities have opportunity to do things like that. We work with Red Level as much as we do here. We work with River Falls, Florella, all around, and we are just trying to give those towns capital that they can put back in their towns through taxes. And again, a lot of that is good with travel, because we have so many people coming through this area, especially going to the beach and whatnot, and it's a good opportunity. And so basically there's several retail functions, retail trade shows that are within the southeast, most of them. A couple of them are out west, but a lot of those things, and as well as forestry, you don't have to go entirely too far to be able to market our area. But our office has taken significant budget hits due to some change in leadership over the past year, and we're certainly thankful to the commission for all that y'all do to support us, and we need every bit of it, and we will put it to good use. It will be used to benefit this county, and I'm grateful for it. And look at this as a team effort. Hopefully, we will be having a pretty big announcement to make here in the next couple of months. So just keep your fingers crossed. Hope everything works out, and we'll be able to talk about that a little bit more. I can't today, but we've got some great things in the works for us, and I think it will really put our area even more on the map. I tell you, it's just, we're in a special place here. I grew up here, was born and raised here, and when I got old enough to get out and look at the surrounding counties, I realized I got to grow up in a pretty cool place. And there are a lot of people, especially, one thing that I learned, I'll tell you just kind of a futuristic glimpse, and I'll sit down so y'all can get going. Healthcare, for instance. When you're talking about economic development, two things that these companies look at: how good's your school system and how good's your hospital. That's two big things on their list. I think our school systems are better than most. I think they've come a long way, and we got some pretty good hospitals here. But since COVID, when somebody was delivering a baby, if I was wanting to go see my grandson in the hospital or whatever, you couldn't do that then. They only allowed a certain amount of people in the room. And things like that have caused a lot of the specialty functions in hospitals to be pushed to go out of hospitals and start private practices. One reason, people don't want to not be able to see the child when it's delivered. Number two, they were worried to catch COVID from just going to the hospital to have a scan done and having to be around people that may have had it. And so if that is the wave of the future, and you've got all specialty practices and hospitals moving out, a hospital won't be there. That's a little concerning. I don't know that we'll face that as much here in the rural area, but it was an interesting concept that I had a site selector talk with me about. That was just kind of different thinking. But they also said that with our area here, life sciences would also be a great focus. The center, the distribution center, main hub for UPS up in Kentucky, has developed a huge lab for life science studies. They're growing all kind of different samples, and they are shipping those samples to labs all over the world. So they kind of got in the business to do something that helps their own business, shipping things everywhere. But with the agriculture we have here and the ground we have here, we seem to be suited to do well to do something like that ourselves. So we're looking into that a little further and seeing what can be explored there. Any opportunity we can have to expand on is what we want to take. And again, we're thankful for y'all's support. I enjoy keeping you up to date anytime I can, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jacob. Anybody have questions, commissioners?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I really appreciate you taking time to do this, Jacob, and I can speak for the rest of the commissioners. We would love to have you more often.
Great.
Absolutely.
More information, the better.
That's
And
hey,
we
I look
appreciate the
forward to
job
it.
you do, and if Rick will let you out, please
All right,
come back. You don't have to have an invitation.
we'll do it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all, man.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yes, sir. Susan, do you want to report from EMA from overnight? Let's do that. I think it's a priority. It's certainly on our mind right now, isn't it?
It's all on mine. You got to write it down.
Thank you for being here after a long night. I don't know if you spent it up here, but it was a long night for everybody, wherever they were.
Well, me and Frank divided it up. We got under the tornado watch at 8:30 last night, so he came in, and him, I think the sheriff and a few others camped out in the OC. But we had our first call actually at 6:30 this morning, and me and Lynn have been using our new little system that we have working with dispatch, and it still works really well.
Good.
And we had, I think it was 17 events that we were working, which was trees down and power lines down. And the ones that we have open now are the power lines down. And Covington Electric has some major issues in our county, and it's going to take a while. One of them was at Shady Grove Road. That area is the one that they're having the most problems with. We had no structures that were damaged that were reported, so that's the grace that we had last night. So other than that, everything went smoothly, and we're out of all our watches and warnings now, and we're just dealing with the impact right now. And the engineer's office has done an excellent job with our fire departments getting to the trees and getting them cleared. Any questions for me?
Anybody have a question?
Thank you, Miss Susan,
You're
for the
welcome.
job you do.
Thank you.
Thankful that it went like it did.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Lynn Rawls, thank you too.
I just put numbers in the computer this morning.
And the sheriff.
All that, evidently all the events were after the 4:30 or 5 o'clock this morning, because I know I
It
was,
was that last front that
Yeah.
came through where we got all our
Oh.
damage. And the area in Shady Grove, we gotta just do some research. I really don't know what that impact was, if it was a downburst or just the wind. We're trying to track it and see what it is.
Okay.
National
That's
Weather
right.
Service will let me know what they saw on the radar.
okay, good. All right, commissioners, if nothing else related to EMA or economic development, we'll move on to the consent agenda. You have been provided minutes from the December 12th meeting, which seemed like a year ago. And also, the-
Last year.
well, it was last year, I guess so. And also the accounts payable and payroll for December 2023. I'll ask if there are any corrections or adjustments in any of those, or if there's a motion to approve all the items under the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
All right,
Second.
motion and second. Nobody has a correction to note. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those are approved. Thank you.
I lost my phone.
Let's move on to old business. At the last meeting, we brought up discussion concerning a new software contract with Southern Software, Inc. Karen, you want to update us on that?
Well, at that time, the sheriff was not sure. We were trying to make the best decision for his department, based on communication with E911 and the local.
Let me restate that. It sounded like he wasn't sure we were trying to make the best decision. He wasn't sure which way we were going. We were attempting with him to make the best decision. Sorry.
Correct.
Clarify
Yes.
that.
And so I think they met with the 911, had their board meeting, and I believe at that time,
We met with 911 and we had a board meeting. We also met with the other police chiefs and everything. And Southern Software was our choice to go with. They are more affordable than the other one. Up front, they're about the same, but for a yearly rate that goes on, it's about half of what the other one is.
and it
Which
communicates with all the other
Yes,
agencies.
it
So
communicates
it
with
puts
all the
everyone.
other ones, and also it's NIBRS certified. That was, have to be NIBRS certified, and the other one had a promise to be NIBRS certified, but they're not.
So the major agencies in the county are all going to be on this, including 911.
And Andalusia both use Central,
Okay.
Southern Software, and we're going to use Southern Software, so is 911, and we're all going to be the same software.
So we had asked Morgan to review this, and she's aware of it, and are there any questions that need to be considered, or we just need a motion to approve this
The
contract?
retroactive.
Yeah, because they went ahead and signed because of the time frame and the change of pricing that they were facing, so.
That's correct.
I think we gave tentative approval, subject to these later conversations at the last meeting, so. Is there a motion to approve this contract?
Make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll say.
All right. Anybody have questions for the sheriff or Ms. Karen on this? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's approved. Appreciate you making the effort to find out, try to get us all on the same page. I think that's going to be very, very important going forward. It's created some.
We had that lull before where we didn't have communications.
Right, now, if they receive if E911 receives a call, instead of having to pick up the telephone and call another Opera Andalusia, they can just hit a button, it shoots right to their desktop and the call's there. It's gonna save a lot of time, and we'll be able to share our warrants and stuff together a lot better. So it's gonna be nice.
Another item under old business was floodplain development ordinance, and we charged Morgan with reviewing that ordinance that was proposed by ADECA. And I know she has reviewed that. I don't know that we've reached a conclusion. Lynn, is there anything you want to update relative to that?
We'll just come with our recommendations at the next meeting.
Okay, so that's still tentative. Do y'all have anything you want to bring as you reviewed that paperwork? I would encourage you to communicate directly with Lynn on that, or Morgan if you have concerns or questions on that. I think I'm gonna find it interesting. What the proposal is, commissioners, is some land use, basically a land use ordinance. And I'm just not sure we have the authority to do that under state law. But I know that the paperwork referenced several code sections, so maybe there's something new that gives us that authority. There is a need to manage the floodplain part of it for sure, but I don't know that we want to go any further than simply a courtesy review of the application. So that'll come up at the next meeting. Consider approval for a school resource officer contract with Covington County Board of Education. Karen, what do you have?
I believe you had in last contact with them on that.
Okay. The sheriff's had conversations, I know, with school board. We've added 2 resource officers, and we were attempting to determine how to bill them for the year, make sure we were on the same page. Did Ressie get with you on that?
No.
Okay. So the proposal, as I would understand it, rather than have a moving target that changes with a new employee, was that we have a set fee, and the previous amount that they were reimbursing was $175,000, and that was 4 officers. So if we took half of that and added to that, that would cover the additional 2 officers. And I think that's going to be in the ballpark of what your conversation. Do you want to? Is there something you want to present on that, or does that sound reasonable? If the school's okay with that?
That sounds right. I spoke with Mr. Driver last week, and he seemed agreeable.
Okay, good. All right. So,
I think there was an issue about the cost
yeah.
of how much it was gonna cost us versus them, and be more specific on what the cost was.
This would give us a flat amount, everybody knows, and then if you hire somebody that's getting a lesser wage per hour or more, we still gonna get the same thing, and we can change it another year. This agreement in here, has that been,
That agreement is what was proposed originally from the sheriff,
Okay.
so that is not.
are there significant changes from the one we've been operating under, Sheriff, or did we not have a written agreement previously?
We did have a written agreement, but it was not as complex.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what it was.
I'm not sure if I've even seen that agreement that y'all have.
This is the one you brought to us.
When I brought,
Yeah, back
Early.
several.
I think I might have defined what a school resource officer is.
Duty hours and such that was not listed quite so detailed.
Y'all want to move forward on this with that amount in mind, the 175 plus half, which is, I think, 87.5, as the school's reimbursement on that, or contribution to the cost, and then we're incurring other costs above labor anyway, that will take it a little above that, but the county has typically had an investment in the school resource officer program, and this allows us to keep that investment going forward. What schools did we add, or how did?
We added a resource officer at Strawn,
Yeah.
and we added a resource officer at Florella High School.
Okay.
Florella and Lockhart were shared one resource officer, so now we have one at each.
Okay.
Because there was like transportation for them, all the things that was needed, and that's what I think I was wanting to know where it was gonna cost.
Yeah.
Where was our final numbers gonna be
Right.
for all this? Whenever we had them, and the school was in agreement to certain things, and we wanted to make sure that everybody was, treated fair.
Yeah.
Did you already have vehicles for the,
I already had.
The extra two?
I did not have to purchase another.
Okay.
vehicle.
what do the school resource officers do during the summer?
During the summer, they recover on they bill comp time during the work year, so they'll take their comp time back. They'll attend schools such as, resource officer
Right.
school, and if needed, if they don't have a lot of comp time that's built up there, then we put them on regular work day.
Yeah. Okay, and they're compensated then for that? Okay.
How did it work out for after-school activities?
What we have done is on the after-school activities, we kind of pool our resource officers, especially down around Florella. We do have activities that go on at Florella that doesn't go on at Lockhart. So one officer will go, or one officer might not go. But we'll always have somebody at school activities within the county that, but outside of county, unless the principal requests it and there's a problem, there's some schools we go to, there could be a problem. We won't send a resource officer unless there's a request or a need for it, so.
That was another concern, what I was, because that had been talked about going to out of state or other towns, making sure they're
They
involved
do go
in
to
that.
other towns, but we keep that at a minimum.
Because that was an occurrence of cost, we're not really sure how to handle.
Well, it winds up building up a lot of comp time over time, and, we're gonna keep that.
I'd like to have another conversation with Mr. Driver. Do you have a problem if we delay the action on it till the next meeting? Okay, if that's okay, Commissioners. If you have thoughts on it, even as we leave here, please communicate that to Karen, and then we'll have a conversation with them and attempt to have this ready to act on at the next meeting. All right. Under new business, consider appropriation for Historical Society, page 26 and 27 in your packet. Karen, what do you have?
We received this request from the Historical Society asking for appropriations that the city of Andalusia sends them quarterly payments of $1,250. They were asking us to match that. I would like to propose we do a one-time appropriation instead of quarterly, though, if that would be your
What are your thoughts on
desire.
participating in this? I think we may have contributed once in the past
We
or
have.
twice. It's not
Occasionally,
common,
we'll receive a request and we'll act on it.
but it's not part of our annual appropriations
That-
typically.
That's correct.
Did you have an amount you had in mind, Karen?
I was just thinking 5,000 would probably be something, since we already passed the budget time for us, that
You know, the group maintains a museum that's open, I don't know exact hours of the week, but I know it's open on special request at times. It does have regular hours. Then if somebody's coming into town at a time it's closed, they will make a point to get volunteers up there to open it up, let people see. And they have a great accumulation of assets from times past. And I'm sure this just helps them maintain, keep the lights on, keep repairs made. And, you know, these kinds of requests come from time to time. I recommend that we do contribute 5,000 to that. What are your wishes?
I know we've been a participant before, try to support it, you know. And they keep up with a lot of information too, as well as what goes on, you know, for other buildings. It might have, you know, whatever comes up for that building, if it needed to be repaired, or if it was if it was not repairable, they could give some insight of what the building had any values to, you know, historically or whatever. So I know they keep up with a lot of stuff, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. We'll take that as a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Comments? So the motion is to make a $5,000 grant or appropriation to Covington Historical Society. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. And the next item under new business, item B, is discuss county phones. We're going to call on Eric for that, or you lead the charge? Eric, if you would come forward, tell us what you got.
Good morning. So, this has been an ongoing topic for, I think, about 2 years now. The county's in need of a phone system, and in the past, I have recently proposed that we completely replace the system with a brand new one. However, I have found that there's an option that we have to use a vendor that can license our existing system. And so I began to chase that avenue, and we realized that every time, in order for them to quote us, there's a contract or change that has to happen, which accrues a fee. So we've stopped doing that because I don't want to pay a fee every time just for a company to give us a quote, right? So me and Karen talked about it, and we said we're going to let you guys lead the charge on what guidance you want me to take on moving forward with the phone system. So the two options that we have is we can incur a cost each time for me to give you quotes to maintain our existing phone system, or I can chase an avenue for getting a new vendor in of replacing the entire phone system with a brand new one. We have looked last year, and we have preliminary quotes on two different companies to come in and replace our whole existing system. If you guys want us to go that route with accumulating more quotes, I can do that and get them refreshed, because they are dated. They need to be updated.
What's an estimate of cost, just ballpark?
Well, one vendor was extremely high. You were looking at about $70,000, and I think that's what we have allocated in the budget, is between $60,000 and $70,000, if that's what you guys put in the budget that I had requested. So all of this will be a budgeted change. However, we're looking at the best, most affordable option that we have. One vendor was about $60,000 to $70,000. A lot of that cost was training, which I did not like. And then another cost that we looked at, or a different vendor we looked at, their cost was, there was no installation fee, because we can choose to do a self-installation, or if you don't want to allocate me to do the self-installation, they come down and do it free of charge, because you're buying a phone system from them. That's part of their deal.
How much was it?
That was around $20,000 to $25,000. Turnkey system,
And that's a new system?
brand new.
Why would we keep our old one?
To minimize the change of a phone on a desk. Because when we put a brand new phone on a desk, it's going to be a learning curve. Users are going to have to get used to it and things like that. Plus, it just take a lot of time.
How long we had this system that we have now? Do you
We've
know?
had this system since 2011. The phone system in and of itself. Now, we did replace the phones on the desks a few years ago, but the system that runs on the back end has been here since 2011. And it is original. It has never been updated. So I did find that out.
Who was the vendor for that system?
That was Lumen, CenturyLink, Brightspeed, whichever one we want to call them today. Which we did look at an option from Lumen. However, their quality of service is going downhill very, very quickly. So ever since they changed from CenturyLink to Lumen, and then from Lumen to Brightspeed, they've split the services of which company handles what now, and getting them on site or on the phone is almost impossible. So I would recommend we stay away from Lumen.
Are you allowed to mention the other two vendors publicly?
I don't see why not. We've already formally collected quotes from
We'll
them.
have to bid this if it's, because anything over 30,000 would have to either be on a bid list that we can choose from, or else we'll have to bid it out. And so I think at this time it wouldn't be appropriate, so. We were just doing our preliminary numbers to see
Trying to
if
get
we were at the.
numbers.
Yeah,
if there
yeah,
is-
we were just trying to get some costs.
Otherwise, you start giving.
Because I needed some sort of placeholder number for the budget. So, and I think, like I said, if you guys granted that in my budget, I requested anywhere between 60 to 70,000. So,
We also ran out of extension lines. There's a certain amount of numbers, so we had to buy additional numbers at one time, and we're.
our existing phone system is at 100% max capacity, which means there is no more additional phones that can be added and no more additional extensions that can be added. So if we take on another department and agree to give them 10 phones, that's not going to happen. We'll have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
So is the proposed, these systems that were quoted, are they internet-based?
They are. So currently, all of our phone system equipment is in the closets at the courthouse and at the building here that runs this entire complex. The new system would be what they call a hosted phone system, which means there's no equipment in the closet. It all runs in the internet cloud. So if we lose internet, our phone systems go down, which is the same thing that happens right now. If we lose internet right now, our phone systems go down. Yes, you can transfer in between the two departments because you're not placing an outbound call, and you should be able to do the same thing on a brand new system. However, we're going to get rid of the equipment in the closet, so there's no equipment to maintain. None of this happens. Basically, when we port the phone numbers to whatever new vendor that is hosted, we just pay the bill every month, and that's the end of it. If a phone goes bad, we buy a new phone.
Is that monthly bill going to be similar to the?
It will be
monthly?
slightly cheaper than what we are paying now, depending on the vendor that we go with.
So I would recommend that we spec a new phone system and take bids and make the investment.
And go through a
It's 10 or
learning
12 year
curve.
investment.
And go through a learning curve.
And go through the learning curve, it's just part of it.
Eric,
I'm
Sorry, Kevin.
you're our tech person. What do you say? You tell us. What
I
do you
would
want?
like a newer system just because it will be hosted, which means there's less equipment here that runs a risk of going down, or we know it's inevitable that it's going to age out, we're going to have to replace it. None of that stuff here makes it a lot easier to maintain. Not to mention if you guys decide to spin up a brand new office somewhere, there's no infrastructure we have to wait on. I just order phones, they're here, we plug and play. Have a good day.
Are there limits on these phone systems that
No.
you've been getting quotes on? You can just keep expanding?
You just keep expanding. So now, if you go into, you want 25 extra phones, yes, you got to pay for the phones. Some vendors offer a lease where you pay for the phones each month, but as they break, they replace them to you for free of charge. Some offers the option to buy the phones outright, which means we would just buy new phones at the time that we needed more.
Is the least expensive vendor sufficient for what we need?
Yes, yes. It's a system that I'm already familiar with. It's a vendor that we already do business with, for in other aspects, not for phone systems, but in other software that we buy here for the county. So yes, either or vendor is sufficient. One system I'm familiar with, one system I'm not familiar with. The only issue that I had with one of the vendors was the cost that it was going to incur just for mandatory training. It was a great deal.
Part of the quoted price?
Yes, it was part of the quoted price.
And no option to opt out of it, you have to.
Yeah, from what I understood, it is going to be a mandatory training, because they come in and they teach you how to use the phones and all the services behind the phones and things like that. Whereas at the end of the day, it's a phone on the desk. As long as I teach you how to place a call on hold and transfer and this and that, that's really the gist of the phone systems that we have. Pick it up and answer it and transfer and hold. So we don't have a very sophisticated system, nor do we need a very sophisticated system.
Anybody opposed to putting together a bid package and bidding
Yeah,
a
just,
system?
but like upgrades and future things, what would be cost,
There's not. Well, the hosted phone system is, if we maintain the same amount of phones, same amount of phone numbers that we have, you just pay the bill every month, and that's the end of it. Because everything runs in the cloud. There is no infrastructure on site that has to be replaced or maintained or runs a risk of going bad.
Well, Eric, don't we have to buy the block of numbers though?
No, we're porting our numbers over.
No, I'm talking about additional ones, the ones that we don't have enough of. I know we had to buy blocks of numbers.
Yeah, so now if we decide to, like if we do a side-by-side where we take everything we've got now and go into this new system, that would be what we quoted every month. Now, if we decide we need 15 more phone numbers and 15 more extensions, then yeah, there's a different set of charges you go up for that each time you increase the services that you have.
But it has capacity to do that.
No, it's an unlimited amount of capacity,
Yeah,
but
so
yes, you
we
can grow
expand
at
as
will.
we need to.
Right. but
You can grow at will, and then you can remove at will. So if we, for some reason, lose an office that's no longer needed for phones, we can reduce that, and it'll recoup that cost every month.
I just didn't want something like computers, but every so often you got to change or something, do something that's gonna keep it running.
Right,
They're
right.
gonna have to come up with additional charges for
No.
whatever equipment we have now to be better, and to keep running, we'd have to keep putting more money in.
No, sir. We just, basically, we pay for the level of numbers that we want. So if we take away, it decreases our bill. If we increase, it increases our bill. So basically, it'll match what we have now. It's slightly cheaper than what we're currently paying for with one of the vendors, on the monthly recurring, because you have the cost that it takes to install a system, and then you have what it's gonna be every month to pay for it. So,
The price, the estimates you have are pretty close to the threshold for bids, so I think we would be best served to move forward with requesting bids. Why don't we take a 10-minute recess, and then we'll come back in at 10 o'clock to make a decision on this. We'll recess for 10 minutes. Thank you.